Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again to the StarLadder I-League Invitational Season 4. We're going to be taking a look at our first series of the day in these North American qualifiers. It's going to be OpTic facing off against Animal Planet. Again, semifinals. These two teams have both won a series apiece. Animal Planet probably facing off against the fiercest competition that there's been so far when they took down VGJ just last night. But I'm Lyrical, joined as well by the wonderful Tsunami. Tsunami, how you doing, my man?
I'm very excited for this. It's not the true test for Animal Planet quite yet. Like you said, they did have a reasonable opponent yesterday with VGJ Storm, but there's a lot of data that still needs to be gathered on this team. Like, it's been only one series, and who knows what AUI has been up to in that hyperbolic chamber of his.
Right.
Brief hiatus from competitive Dota, but he's returning now in fashion with a few fresh faces. OpTic had originally taken one of the North American fresh faces with CCNC, has proven to be fairly successful, and Animal Planet bringing in Bryle and Kitrak, which Bryle was kind of a FPL mainstay, I suppose, in that brief period after TI where North America was kind of struggling to have people be entertained. There were no tournaments going on. Pubs were, you know, as always, in chaos. And so FPL was happening, and I think that was one of the best opportunities for Bryle to prove his capabilities. And whenever OpTic's roster was starting to be formed, a lot of people were putting Bryle's name in contention for a potential mid option, but ended up going with CCNC, and now Bryle's getting a shot with Animal Planet. And then same thing with Kitrak. I didn't see too much of him in FPL, but I'm sure he was playing a fair amount, and he's been a North American pub mainstay for a very long time. So for Animal Planet, I'm very excited, and for OpTic Gaming, I'm also looking forward to a lot. 33 was a former Planet Dog / Hellraisers player. During the TI qualifiers, I was actually looking at EU, and I don't want to discount the other players on Hellraisers, but 33 consistently impressed all of us who were watching that team's progression through the qualifiers, and we were like, dude, this guy is like so consistent. He's almost kind of universe-esque, and like you give him so minimal resources and he still manages to come out with so much in the offlane. He can be greedy if the time calls for it, but he's just consistency is the name of the game for him, and so I'm happy to see that he found a home after Hellraisers had disbanded. So I'm definitely looking forward to this series.
For sure, it's great. And we got to see the Animal Planet squad play just yesterday, and Bryle put on hell of a show. You were talking about him just a second ago. Each game, it felt like he had arguably the highest impact. I think when you talk about like Kitrak and FPL too, it's probably it's a position where you don't see as many of those flashy plays, right? Like you're playing mid hero on that guy, and well, Kitrak, just the lonely support. I think he was an Ogre Magi in like a 52-minute game yesterday where he had like wand tranquils, and then he had to buy back when he had enough gold for a force staff. It was like so depressing, but they still make it work. We can talk a little bit about the draft now as well, a little bit of the interesting meta situations going on. The Shadow Shaman is going to be taken first overall by Animal Planet in the Ancient Apparition. Earth Spirit, lots of team fight, great follow-up from an initiation of an Earth Spirit with an AA blast, and then Sand King. And am I remembering this yesterday when it was... No, that was a different team that we saw really stand out Sand King performance, but this is still amazing. I mean, it's a great hero.
Queen of pain.
Yeah, and one that Moon Meander is definitely well familiar with. The one thing that does surprise me, the fact that Kitrak has been given the keys to the draft. Like I said, he's probably compared to Moon, AUI, and Ritsu, he definitely has less competitive experience, and then very few mid players are drafters these days, so it doesn't surprise me that Bryle's not wearing the crown on his head. But yeah, Kitrak, I am interested to see how his drafts pan out. PPD is definitely a gold standard in terms of drafting excellence, and so if there was ever a test of how capable you are, then this is definitely a good one. Though I'm sure that within North America, pubs and other in-house leagues, they probably get plenty of experience, and I'm sure Kitrak is very well familiar with how PPD likes to draft and how he likes to play, so it's going to be an interesting test. They do end up handing Bryle a Razor, and so we did mention how Bryle is known to be a big playmaker and Razor a famously not big playmaking hero, but it's you are often trying to figure out your place as a drafter. Like, do I focus more on one specific player that I want to make sure that has a really good game, or do I want my entire team comp to have like a real solid cohesion? And that's something that's always interesting to me whenever I first start seeing teams form, because some teams are just like, I gotta get, my mid player his hero, otherwise everything else is just gonna fall to pieces. And other teams are like, no, sometimes my mid will have a bad game, it's okay. Like, that's how OG with Ana used to play a lot, is they were like, whatever, Ana is gonna struggle, that's okay, the rest of us are gonna come back. But then Liquid oftentimes is like, whenever Miracle was mid, there was like, we have to give Miracle his hero, otherwise things are gonna get difficult.
No, definitely, and that's something that you're always gonna have as like a question, putting people on those heroes that they feel comfortable with and making it a priority. But there is also some differences. So for instance, yesterday it was Ritsu playing a lot of the Juggernaut. With this Medusa pick, I'm wondering if they might stick him on the Razor now. Obviously it's a great matchup against Omni Knight as you get to the later stages. I mean, the Purge isn't like consistent always that you're going to hit the right person, but there's a decent chance that you end up taking off that Guardian Angel. And then also we're going to have the Medusa versus Quap matchup, which is another little one. The other thing that I'll mention is that in all those FPL games and all the in-house leagues that are going on, it's always captain's mode. So there is always drafting that's happening. And in that fashion, a player that's been spamming those games out probably has a lot of experience drafting, even if it's not against always the best players or best drafters in the world. Sometimes it is. I think I've seen a lot of those in-house leagues where it's a PPD versus a crit draft or what have you. It's happening.
Yeah, there's definitely exposure to be gained, but this is definitely going to be a test. I'm just hoping that the roster does stay, as we do know the second roster lock is going to be in effect very soon, and so teams need to start gelling, and so that's why you're seeing a few of these rosters pop up. Hopefully they stay consistent, especially in this region where North America is kind of struggling in terms of obtaining some DPC points. And so, if your qualifiers are more competitive, then that means that you're better equipped whenever you finally get to a LAN event and you're having to compete with other international teams. So if nothing else, hopefully the roster sticks and they can, level each other up within the region, which is something that I'm used to saying for like Southeast Asia or South America, but the points aren't lying right now, and North America needs some help.
Definitely. It needs a lot of help. The other thing that we hadn't mentioned yet also, as far as storylines, there's so many freaking storylines in this one. It's the Owie versus PPD show. Oh my god, it's happening. We might even end up seeing one of them pick each other off. We'll have to watch and wait, but...
and then we can make an excessively big deal about it, for sure. It's a rivalry like over 2 years in the making, so hell yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I'm sure they've sort of seen each other in events of, locked eyes with fists clenched like the little Arthur gif or whatever the hell it is.
Oh yeah,
it's great. Jakiro last pick.
That's the kind of environment we like to create. Jakiro last pick indeed. Very, very solid push coming out from the supports of Animal Planet, but the cores necessarily aren't going to be that big of a deal. But that just means that you have more space for Medusa. If you make Shadow Shaman and Sand King migrate around, they're going to be hopefully picking off targets. Omni Knight's going to be kind of difficult to pick up, and Omni Knight was a go-to hero for 33 back in the TI qualifiers, and so he's very comfortable on it, and he's just a solid off-lane hero right now in general. And so right now the roaming from Animal Planet seems a little bit stronger for me. AA has always been a hit-or-miss hero, because unlike a hero like Sand King, AA always needs help. You always need to have a +1 to make Cold Feet and Chilling Touch and Ice Vortex effective. Otherwise, the hero himself, not really intimidating for solo roaming potential. But they're actually putting 33 on the Earth Spirit. Wait, so it's 33... Yeah.
He's playing position 4. He's switching in for Saxa. So you have Zai that's in the off lane.
Have they not been... I guess there aren't very many games, but I thought that it was a possibility that they would, I guess, have some role swaps here and there.
I mean, they certainly can if they want to. But I'm pretty sure that Zai wanted to keep playing off lane. Again, I don't know, and talk to the guy. But the other thing to keep in mind, another little wrinkle thrown into this, it's going to be a Pycat Queen of Pain. So safe lane Quap with CCNC playing Sniper mid, and it is going to be Ritsu Razor with a Bryle Dusa. Odd stuff. What do you think about these setups for what we're assuming is going to be the lane matchups.
Sniper is one of the favorite counter picks to Medusa. People are still trying to figure out like the best way to deal with the hero. Like, do you want a solid lane matchup? Do you want to dominate the lane, or do you want to just do the same thing as Dusa often does, which is just like quietly get your farm and stay protected if you get rotated on mid? Which the Sniper is going to have a lot of people in his lane, that's for sure. Shaman and Sand King roaming in is highly likely, and hopefully the Omni Knight can come in time to save the... Or not, actually, it's probably not going to be the Omni Knight. I keep feeling like it's going to be 33 Omni Knight, but yeah, I mean, the Earth Spirit and AA, which in those situations, AA is relatively effective by himself because, you know, if Sniper's getting dived, you can put a cold feet on someone and you kind of shut down that dive. But still, I prefer Animal Planet's draft right now, just based off the heroes.
Man, and I prefer the Courier right now of OpTic. Oh my god, this thing is amazing.
Oh, the Tank Bot?
That's wonderful.
Tank Bot's OG. Tank Bot's like whenever cosmetics first came out.
It actually looks awful. I'm not gonna lie. Like the isometrics behind it, or whatever the heck the word is. The back looks pretty cool.
We have learned a lot about textures in the past 5 years.
Yeah. What about the other side? What's their Courier looking like? Yeah, see, this is the standard that we're expecting now. You got the little eyes on this guy. He's got a little TP scroll on his back. It's wonderful.
That's why you gotta check out Chinese Dota. They always have the craziest couriers. These always like $5,000 couriers and stuff like that. Tank Bot, you get that in like a random drop at the end of the game.
And I want to get that. I would love it.
So what all... Oh, so you had seen Animal Planet from yesterday, but not OpTic yet, right?
That's correct. So the OpTic game actually happened on the 8th of January, and I was casting South American Dota when that was going on. But they beat out Blue Pikachu. And then yesterday, we had 3 games going simultaneously, where it was Immortals versus Carlton. I saw an interesting tweet from Gods where he was like, hey, Carlton FC, get your stuff together and stop sponsoring second-rate North American teams against an Australian team. But they actually looked really good. I was impressed with them. It was the MJW, Mario, and who else was on that? I Annihilate. They looked pretty decent, but they did end up getting taken out by Immortals. And then 5 Turtles had to forfeit to Complexity because they were playing in the PGL Opens while that was going on. And then we had Animal Planet versus VCJ Storm to end the night, where it was 2-1 into the favor of Animal Planet. And they looked like they should have won the first 2 games, to be honest. They just kind of threw at the end a little bit of maybe decision making or just like possibly nerves. It was a tough game. Either team could have won it.
Okay. And then did AUI sufficiently prove that he still got it, or did he look a little shaky, or what was the situation? Because the man has been playing a lot of Dota still, just not in ticketed and professional games, but yeah. I assure you his Dota buff is still very colorful right now.
No, yeah, I thought he looked really good. He played a Clockwork one of the games, if I'm not mistaken, and then something else. It was interesting, because he was playing somewhat of a sacrificial role at times.
Yeah, that's what I had heard, and I was just like, everyone's always known AUI when he's in that non-core position to be extremely greedy, regardless of the farm priority he's given, so that is interesting to hear.
Yeah, well, and the thing that was really interesting about it was that Flea was playing for VCJ Storm, and he was playing a Naga Siren, and ended up gaining a Radiance and, like, becoming the new carry. So it was, like, the other position 4 on the enemy team that was being the more greedy 4 position, and actually taking farm away from BSJ when they're playing. So I think it's just showing that, you know, he can do what needs to be done for his team. The one thing that I did notice is they tended to sack Ritsu. And it's looking like that's a possibility for this game as well, as they're sending, well, maybe just a one-on-one for now. They're sending him to the safe lane alone, though.
The battle
yeah, well, I mean, you don't give someone a hero like Razor unless you're willing to sacrifice them. Medusa's going to need significantly more help, and in this offlane situation, neither hero is really going to die, most likely. If anything, I am more concerned about Omni Knight dying because, yeah, Repel is going to be useful, but if the static link already is connected to you, then there's not really anything they can do. And Zai recognizes the playstyle of Animal Planet and just straight up yanks the wave, which has been the trend amongst offlaners these days when there are no supports and they're all busy in the mid lane, then might as well just steal a free wave.
Absolutely. Easy peasy. And, well, mid lane, Kitrak gonna just jump up and Aethershock CCNC helping out his buddy, the Medusa, through these early levels. So frustrating to play against, but CCNC is doing a good job. Taking that headshot level 1, he's gotten a lot of harassment there on the Kittrack.
Yeah, it's because OpTic's trying to return the favor in the top lane. 33 and PPD were trying to zone out Moon and AUI, but since both heroes were sent up here, it's a little bit difficult to prevent them all from getting experience. So far, they haven't gotten any, but I don't know how long you're going to be able to keep up this aggression as now another roll.
Yep, hit on the Moon, slowing him down, but can't overextend. The Burrow Strike's actually going to connect. If Aoi is able to run that down close enough, they're not going to be able to get him. He's just going to salve and walk away. But they do burn through a salve at least.
I think it's a good idea that they're going for this. Queen of Pain, not entirely as self-sufficient as a hero like Razor, but if she does manage to get a level advantage, namely have a good point in Blink and Shadow Strike, then she can pretty easily 2v1, which I imagine that AUI wants to start leaving this lane because Sniper's easy pickings as soon as he teams up with Shadow Shaman to head onto the mid lane, but for right now, OpTic are making sure that Pycat gets a level advantage and then they'll leave.
Yeah. A good start, obviously, and it's like Moon is going to be able to get a bit more here onto this Jakiro, and yeah, kind of left alone. They're going to hit a Burrow Strike here onto the Earth Spirit, and now the follow-up stun off the mark. Getting very aggressive on OpTic. They're actually going to chase further forward for Kittrack here, and the Chilly Fingers, they're going to be able to find that kill. First blood drawn by PPD.
These bounty rune fights are so heavily contested. Back in the day, it was just like, oh, I mean, you want to take the bounty rune, whatever, I'll let you have it. But offlaners fight tooth and nail for that these days, and 33 and even Pycat recognizing that. Pycat blinking in aggressively, trying to go in is now another roll on Jakiro, but Jakiro's a little bit tankier.
Yeah, not able to do that much. They don't have the show and touch anymore.
Meanwhile, in rolls a very, very slow Rasa, but no boots, no windlace makes this a little bit difficult to gank without the Sand King's help.
Down here bottom, Zai saving a point so he can go for a repel if he needs to, while the Razor is just going to keep on farming. Relatively into the lead of the Razor, not by a huge margin, but it looks like Zai is going to be able to have a pretty decent time here since he was able to pull that first creep wave back. It looks Kittrack now breaking a clarity and kind of running at him. Need to be a little bit careful. 2 points of purification. Going to start to hit him. He has another purification in 6 seconds, and Kittrack might just be dead. They're trying to turn it.
Oh!
All right, they force him out. Kittrack
actually used his Aethershock there. He had the mana for Shackles. I think the reason that Kittrack was going for that was because he had an Arcane Rune, and so he was just kind of toying around, but instead opting to spend the Aethershock mana instead of Shackles, otherwise they may have been able to do something to Zai there, but he gets out and Zai continues to get some experience. The discrepancy is going to grow, though. As Razor gets more and more levels, it becomes way more dangerous for Omni Knight to pull these kinds of shenanigans, unless if he keeps creep cutting. That's a effective strategy all game long, but looks like this smoke by AUI and Kittrack want to do something about that.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get there in time to catch the bounty runes again. A bit too slow. Maybe they can run mid, as it looks like they're trying to set up on CCNC. He's in the river, but he's on the wrong side of the river for them. Gonna wait this one out, and he's gonna come back in now. Illusion is there. If they can figure out which one's the real one, they might have an idea now. He's gonna run away, and TP coming in. Burrow Strike, it's gonna be within range. They find him. Now they've got the Shackles to follow this up. The roll in as well. Everybody trying to get himself out of there. They get the kick away, and 3-3 able to save his buddy. Aoi will get denied to Roshan, and Kittrack gonna go down. So they lose both of the supports.
Nice kick by the Earth Spirit, being able to move that Sniper a little bit further out. Sniper is slower than a booted up Sand King, seeing as how Sniper does not have any boots yet, so the initiation was solid, but Medusa doesn't really provide that burst damage, especially in these kinds of gank situations which are not near creeps, because Mystic Snake gets more damage the more units that it hits, and so it's not really easy for a Medusa to give enough burst damage, and good reaction by 33 and PPD to protect their mid laner.
Speaking of 33, still only level 2 at 5 minutes. He's gonna need to try and keep sniping away some of those bounty runes for himself. And it kind of feels like right now it's OpTic just kind of winning the lanes and
Well, bot lane though,
Yeah.
that may come to an end.
Yeah, this is the turnaround that you certainly need if you're Animal Planet. Is Zai is going to drop. That's a big kill. That was needed to make something happen.
It's a risk reward thing for offlaners these days, and more often than not, they're okay giving away a few early deaths here and there, especially in this situation when it takes 3 heroes to finally shut you down. Omni Knight has still managed to hit level 4 and almost level 5. Meanwhile, Jakiro Moonmeander, he's relegated to the jungle to try to find some experience, and he's still lower level, as now Kitrak getting run down by Zai.
Yeah.
Not enough damage though.
He's able to TP away. There's a battle for the Haystern as well. 33 rolled in to snatch it away. And still just kind of running around the map. It doesn't feel like there's that much static laning going on, with the exception of Bryle and CC&C mid, where it's Sniper kind of handling Bryle a little bit. But you mentioned it's a tough matchup.
Are scanning.
Yeah, and the fact that Sniper has managed to hit level 6 with, you know, no deaths and 1 kill to his name is fantastic for OpTic Gaming right now, because eventually Pycat is going to start creating a ton of space, and normally a sniper would have to be like, okay, well, now's my chance to farm while my Queen of Pain is creating space. But in this situation, CC&C, he's going to have a Mask of Madness relatively early, so he can probably start participating in these ganks, or pushes, whichever OpTic Gaming decides to go for. Their push isn't great, so chances are it's probably going to be ganks, seeing as how, like, Sniper's pretty much the only hero who can push towers, like, at all. But whatever the case, the Sniper's getting a lot done.
Oh, Kitrak.
Kitrak's
PPD, they don't spot him, but they're in this area, and we'll have vision of him in a second. He's going to walk forward here into the mid lane. I know that he's in the tree line here. They could think about going on him, but they need the creep wave first.
It's not worth it for a Rasta. If they saw Medusa, then they would. And now if Rasta walks into them, like, 33 and PPD don't want to have to go for this Shaman, but fortunately, Razor breaks up the party.
Yeah, he ran into them there. It's going to be going back for the Aquila now, has it in his inventory, or rather in his stash, as Zai is just going to try and cut through this creep waves and start to deal some damage to the tower. Not insignificant here. With the Razor
you were right. They definitely sack Ritsu. It's not often that you'd see a safe lane solo farmer with, you know, free experience and free gold leave his lane to protect the Medusa, but he was like, I haven't seen this AA and Earth Spirit in a while. Yeah. I need to go find out what's up, and that's very uncommon for one positions, but it's working out. Medusa stays alive even longer, and stacks are being created for her.
Taking a look at the net worth right now, you have the Queen of Pain, the Sniper, and the Omni Knight all right around there at the top. And even though he hasn't been given a lot of help down there bottom, Razor's still topping the charts for the Radiant team. And like you said, these stacks that are being built up, it's the hope of eventually allowing Medusa to carry. It's actually only 1 ancient stack, though. This could be could be a little bit rough. She doesn't catch back up.
Yeah, especially since Sniper's pretty good at being able to steal them whenever they're, you know, not that big, because it doesn't take him very much time. But Bryle has left the mid lane, and Ritsu has a TP available, and unfortunately their scan is down, so again, they don't really know. They see AA, but they don't know where Earth Spirit is, and AA puts down a fairly obvious ward, but it's just a sentry.
And they just TP'd out the Earth Spirit as well. He's going to go up to the top lane, where they're going to try and find Moon, see if they can get this kill. They're holding on to that Boulder Smash, but Pycat taking maybe a bit too much damage. He actually doesn't have mana right now for Sonic Wave, so that's going to be Pycat backing out. A little unfortunate having to make that rotation and not being able to find anything from it.
Yeah, unfortunately Animal Planet's not able to take too much advantage in the mid lane. Now that AUI is Tranquil Boots, though, things become a lot easier. 442 move speed as Ritsu gets a kill on PPD solo, and now CC&C definitely recognizes that he needs to run.
Get me the hell out of here! I'm staying by my tier 2 tower.
More often than not, like, 1 point in Burrow Strike at 10 minutes in is a pretty bad look, and so it's very interesting that AUI went for a 2 points in Sandstorm build, especially because I haven't really seen him be jungling too much, but maybe I just haven't been paying attention. But I mean, he managed to complete the Tranquil Boots, so that kind of substitutes the lack of range in Burrow, seeing as how you have more move speed, but still, it's pretty unconventional, especially when he's going to be like the lead initiator. Once he gets the Burrow Strike, then Kitrak has to follow up. It can't be the other way around, because Shaman's even slower.
Yeah.
Although they do get scanned out, so
Radiant's bottom
AUI
tower
leaves.
is under attack.
Yeah, they're getting out of there. CCNC, after seeing the scan go green, is going to walk back there towards the mid, clears out the creep wave. Very little damage done to the tower. And while this is all happening, Aoi gets a little bit of free time to himself, where he's going to make use of that 2 points in Sandstorm and try and farm everything up here.
His Razor's so mobile. Like, he hasn't even finished a drum yet, and he's still headed over to the mid lane. Was able to get that kill on PPD and take the mid tier 1 tower like 1/3 HP off.
Yeah. What a butthead. Just constantly throwing that on. Zai shows up. Maybe a chance here. They're going to have another one of these purifications, and they can send in the illusions without putting Zai at too much of a risk, but they get the shackles now and possibly a chance at a punish. It looks like they're just going to cut the creep wave here and try and put some pressure onto the tier 1 tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Tier 1's gonna go down most likely. Kitrek, still only level 3, so he's a long ways away from Serpent Wards, so first tower of the game is claimed by OpTic, and it's not even that big of an investment. Zai just incidentally happened to be in the vicinity because he was trying to zone out the Medusa, and, you know, Earth Spirit and AA don't really have much better to do. The fact that Pycat is still being able to farm unimpeded is the biggest plus for OpTic right now.
So normally, if this was like a Morph lane or some other hero, actually we gotta hold that thought. Bryle is gonna get going on. They missed the roll, but aren't gonna be able to find the stun, and now the follow-up that's coming. Is it gonna be enough? They do have an assassinate if they wanted to use it, but CNC makes the call to retreat. Normally, if this was a different hero, as also Zai is gonna most likely go down. No, he decides to turn it. He's gonna get that purged off though, so they can still do the damage. Pycat, Sonic Wave, it's not enough. He's gonna go down. They might even be able to find Zai. No, Purification is enough there to turn it. But I don't even remember what I was gonna say now.
Something about a Morphling. I imagine he's like, okay, if it's a Morphling, would he TP down to the bot lane and go straight into a gank rotation? Because if that's the question, then the answer is yes. That's exactly what would happen, and Queen of Pain does the same thing. Although Moonmeander recognizes his opening and takes down the tower, that's the power of a Chikiro, and a hasted up Rasta going to get a shackle, but this is a tanky with 3 stick charges Omni Knight, so they're not going to be able to...
Slow down, Purification, they got it back. No, I guess my point was that it's been Pycat who's basically been left to free farm the entire time. If that was a Morphling, I'd be pretty afraid, because late game, you know that hero's going to be able to carry you. Do you think it's the same thing with the Queen of Pain?
I think this is a reaction to the way that OpTic's managed to get out of the early game relatively unscathed, because if it was, like, ideally they didn't want to have to play this Queen of Pain as, like, super late game in my mind, because they were just going to need a space-creating core to allow the Sniper to farm, but Sniper had such a good early game that they were like, alright, Pycat, you can go ahead and play greedier, and so not even bothering for a Veil, just going to go straight for the Orchid as the first item on this Queen of Pain, so it's a good reaction. It's not as intimidating as something like a Morphling, but that's because OpTic have engineered the game to, like, work that way, because, you know, why bother making Queen of Pain play early game whenever she can just farm late game?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm with you. Picking up what you're putting down. 3 to 4 right now. It's a 4,000 net worth lead as Zai is gonna come in there and try and steal some CS, but Aoi's having none of it. Moon coming down bottom as well. If you're Animal Planet right now, are you starting to get a little bit sweaty? You worried about what's going on?
You've got a Medusa. I don't think you're ever really concerned about what's going on until you lose all your tier 1 towers and Medusa starts having, like, fewer places to farm. You're never really too concerned. Although this may be a concern, as now Bryle getting rotated in by 4 heroes.
Silent stun, it's all there. He doesn't have any way to get out of it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Sometimes that happens.
No real vision available. All the Radiant Wards are kind of aggressive, one in the Dire jungle and one near the top rune, so Medusa goes down. They would have killed whoever is up there. It's just unfortunate for Animal Planet that's Medusa, but still, you're not really too concerned. Britsu has gone for a build that's going to cause a lot of chaos for OpTic Gaming. He's going for a Glimmer Cape after this drum, so you have a good matchup. Meanwhile, mid lane.
Oh, 3-3 is gonna fall. Looks like Moon is maybe gonna be able to get out of here. He does have Yule Scepter. And Aoi moving in, gonna try and go for the Burrow Strike. The turnaround is there. CCNC not expecting that one. It's gonna be slowed and killed off as well. Zai not able to get into range quickly enough. Now Pycat trying to turn into this one as well. He's gone a bit too deep though. They have the Sentry Ward down. Owie, Burrow Strike trying to get away, but it was never going to be enough.
Man, no one expects the 4 points in Burrow Strike damage. I mean, the 4 points in Sandstorm damage. They were all just like taking the fight, and AUI was just like, this is all according to plan. Fortunately, they had a Sentry Ward and finally detected him. But yeah, I'm surprised that CCNC even bothered going for that Assassinate. Like you mentioned, Jakiro does have that Yule Scepter, so there's pretty much no way that that Assassinate gets pulled off if Jakiro has the mana, and Jakiro definitely did have the mana, so CCNC overextends a little bit, gets punished, and goes down, and the 1-for-1 trade definitely comes out in the favor of Animal Planet.
Ritsu, Drum there, going next for the Hood. We've got another Ice Blast that's gonna head on in there, just a annoyance. And Moon is actually thinking about going for a Blink Dagger next. As wards are dropped, Jakiro's starting to get that Liquid Fire down. Moon a little bit late with that one, but
okay, well, maybe he would have died to the Assassinate then.
Possibility. Never know. Oh, another one of those, and this is something else to mention. Like with the Liquid Fire and Serpent Wards constantly being dropped, they're going to get some towers over time.
Yeah, and it's not a heavy commitment either. I mean, the ward is a reasonably heavy commitment, but if you are able to create enough of a buffer zone, which this time Animal Planet didn't seem interested in it, they were like, wait, why go for this mid-tier one that's going to, you know, take a lot of damage anyway when we can get a lot of unclaimed damage on the tier 2 top, which is what they're doing right now.
Love the Tranquil Boot drops as well by Moon. Bottom lane, they're going to try and pressure it out a little bit. Owie is here. They're going to drop down a Sentry Ward, realize that that was coming, and now needed to get the heck out of dodge. He's going to Burrow Strike, maybe try and turn this one, but does look like he's going to end up falling. PPD is there. He's going to be the next one to die as Pycat trying to man up. Now, are they going to be able to find this kill? Still going to be a dead Razor.
Soulburn taking down the Razor, but he was probably dead regardless. Pycat is very tanky right now, which is uncommon to see a Queen of Pain be this strong, especially since Pycat didn't even bother going for that 10 strength talent, instead going for the damage talent. But I mean, you're seeing how effective is another roll on Jakiro on the bot lane, trying to bait out this Yules.
Gets it there, is able to dodge away from the Scream though, and now Silence comes afterwards. Stick charges there as well, doesn't want to take too much from the Soulburn, but regardless, still gonna die. While top lane, Omni Knight just running at Bryle, saying, "What you gonna do?"
I did see PPD make a tweet saying, "Make mech great again," and it's maybe a word of advice that he's given to Zai. Mechanism as an item itself, no one's really a fan of. These days, it's pretty much like, the only reason you're building it is if you plan on turning it into a Greaves, but looks like Zai's going to be stopping off for a 4-staff in between. Seeing as how he got a fair amount done in the offlane, this early mechanism is going to be pretty useful. Medusa's not really strong enough to deal enough damage to make team fights scary. It's mainly just going to be on this Razor. And if you have enough sustain, as now Kitrak just wants to deward, and he's going to get it, but at the cost of his life.
Oh no!
It happens.
Now, CCNC gets that kill. 5-1 and 2 so far. And apparently the second highest net worth in the game behind that Queen of Pain. Definitely a discrepancy right now. 7,000 gold into the favor of OpTic. And it's feeling like Animal Planet just kind of needing to hold back this tide of aggression that's coming out their way. They're even going to mech the creeps there, but eventually we'll be able to take them down. As top tower goes down to Bryle, as well as Shadow Shaman. They've caught themselves the Razor. He's getting purged, gonna fall. A big kill there.
Yeah, and with just 2 points in Ice Path, like normally you're feeling pretty confident as a Queen of Pain, seeing as how, as long as you know where the Sand King is, and you know where the Rasta is, then you shouldn't feel too concerned, but I'm possibly not aware that AUI had completed a Blink Dagger, but whatever the case, it's he was on tier 3 high ground, so Pycat has no one to blame but himself for that.
CCNC is gonna be looking to deny this. Gets it there and won't be punished, it looks like. Next level play would have been like wrap around high ground here and then go for the pickoff afterwards, but obviously no big, maybe a bit too much to ask.
The one thing is that both of these teams are pretty miserable at taking Roche, so even though all these side objectives are being claimed, one of the most likely game-defining fights will be at the first Roche, because neither team takes it fast enough to sneak it, and both teams have amazing fight potential when it comes to inside the pit. Now they want to go in on Zai.
Epicenter coming down. They're going to be able to connect. Burrow Strike is there as well. Ice Cat put together perfectly and trying to kill him off. The Hex is there. The Shackles. It's all played beautifully in concert, but now Pycat shows up. He's got one caught in the Sonic Wave, and it looks like Howie should be able to escape as well as the roll forward, trying to find Moon. Ritsu's still here. He force taps up the high ground, and they got him caught out of position. It's going to be a dead 3-3. Pycat looking where to go. PPD might end up getting caught here with the Burrow, but they decide to go for bigger target here in CCNC, who's going to be able to push back with that Dragon Lance. And, well, CCNC still living for the moment, but eventually it will fall.
And 3 heroes go down for OpTic. Jakiro does end up going down in the end to Pycat's Queen of Pain, but that means that all that AoE damage from the Queen of Pain was being dedicated to one hero, as opposed to the other 3 heroes of Animal Planet that were going in on CCNC. So, solid trade coming out for Animal Planet. Like, this Jakiro is so deceptively tanky. Like, the initial movement onto Omni Knight was a free kill if Animal Planet wanted it, but it looked like OpTic wanted to turn it around. It's now 33.
Oh no! Oh, Kiptrak, he caught himself! He wanted to ward trap somebody else, but now he's going down! Oh, God! Oh!
Worst part is that all your wards get farmed up also. So it's like probably a worst case scenario.
It looked like he was going to kill 3-3 also, and then it just suddenly he just walked away. There's nothing else left to do.
To be fair, I don't know if putting a ward down on an Earth Spirit is really worth it. And like 33 is not very farmed, so it's an expensive cooldown. But yeah, that he was not expecting it to go that poorly. As now a Ice Blast, but let's see if AUI survives.
Burrow Strike has a blink. No, he doesn't have a blink. What am I talking about? Had the dagger on him. Pycat gets that kill. Okay. Let's try and get our bearings. The other thing that's a little bit scary right now is like CCNC doesn't have a ton of farm really. He's got like a lot of net worth, but it feels like it's all these like little mini items and survivability things like Hurricane Pike, Mask of Madness. I feel like is good in the fights, but it's also like very farming oriented. I don't know. There's nothing like really big that he's got in his hands.
Yeah, I agree with what you mean. It's like the kind of build that you'd expect on the Queen of Pain, and the Sniper would be swapped around, where Sniper goes for more late game oriented items, whereas Queen of Pain goes for more farming oriented items, but they're mixing it up. This may be just the way that they like to play Queen of Pain on OpTic, but whatever the case, they're still not under too much pressure. Medusa's still kind of struggling, has not had like ancient stacks to claim and get that big boost in gold to start being a solid team fighter. So both teams are still pretty content as now top
Very
lane.
well set up there. They were waiting and looking for the Pycat blink away, and Hittrack moved into position to cut him off. Not often that you can get a blink initiation when you don't have a blink dagger, but Pycat helped them.
Pycat has definitely been playing fairly aggressively, and I mean, maybe these farming items of CCNC are going to work out then, because normally the Pyke isn't really necessary, especially if you have like the protection of an Omni Knight. You feel confident being like, if I get jumped on by the Sand King, then, you know, I've got Repel, I've got Guardian Angel, but CCNC found it necessary to complete the full Pyke, and now he's going for a BKB, so yet again, another non-damage item. It's nothing like a Maelstrom or a Butterfly or anything like that. It's just survivability right now, and it's all up to Pycat to deal with the majority of the damage, it seems.
It's tier 2 starting to get taken. They're going to pull the creep waves away with PPD hold feet. They might just fully commit for this tower though. Fortification is going to be there. Another creep wave comes in. And this one should be going the way of Animal Planet, who, after a little bit of struggle through that early part, down to a 7,500 net worth lead into the favor of the OpTic, they've brought it back down to even almost.
Yeah, it's even for right now. And Animal Planet now has like a small advantage in which if they felt like spending the Serpent Wards, then they could go for a Roche. It's Kitrak's very close to level 2 Serpent Wards, which every little bit helps. It's just, we'll have to see if Animal Planet are willing to spend that cooldown. And right now they're just kind of prowling around in the Dire jungle, but Dire's grouped up as 4 right now, and if Moon shows himself, he may be in trouble.
TP in. Ooh. Oh, spooky.
Glimmer Cape and a Yules. He's a difficult target.
That is scary stuff indeed. Hard to kill him off. Maybe a smoke now from PPD. They're going to head down to the south, see if they can run into 3-3 down here and maybe find a chance for a pickoff. Although the only one really showing is Kitrak, and you don't want to make a 3-hero rotation to just find a shaman kill. Oh, this is the big one though. That's a far better target.
That's a far better target.
Alright, Hurricane Pike gonna pop that Stone Gaze as well. The chase is still going on. Bryle gonna get hit with it. This is gonna be a dead Dusa. Just a second here. As Ritsu may be able to turn this one back around. Can they find something in return? Wards are down, but Zai popping that Guardian Angel and now trying to take down PPD. The silence is gonna be there as well. They're losing all their cores. Everybody's dead.
Yeah, unfortunately, AUI's TP was down, Jakiro's TP was down, and may have been a little bit of a miscommunication, because if those two heroes are down, then there's no way that a Razor can go face first in that fight. And you saw one of the powers of why Sniper is a choice pick against Medusa. The range is so high on Sniper, which I imagine is another reason why he went for the Pike, that you don't have to be worried about Stone Gaze. She casts that ultimate, whatever, I'll still keep shooting her. I'm a right clicker, and I don't have to be worried about that, so that's such a huge perk. And those TPs being down is an expensive fight for Animal Planet, as one Rax goes down, both their cores go down, and they're looking towards the second lane.
I mean, no buybacks on the heroes that I guess really matter. It's going to be a tier, just another tier 3 tower taken. They could maybe go for some type of like TP cancel here, but they're bringing it back, and now Burrow Strike able to get the work it off after the fact. And after taking the melee, they're going to retreat. Big win for OpTic there, as they've built up a 10,000 net worth lead.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, that hurts. Thankfully, there was some retribution coming in from Animal Planet. Moon Meander, seeing as how he had nothing better to do in the bot lane, he opted to push out the top lane and takes the top tier 3 down to, you know, a quarter HP, as Dire Courier ends up dying somewhere.
A little bit of gold and experience.
Whatever the case, it's the biggest thing is now OpTic have opened a large window to take Roche. I mean, like, obviously taking a lane and a half is nice also, but you need to be able to finish a game against a Medusa, and taking a lane and a half of Rax is not a good enough way to finish a game. Now, with that opening, instead it looks like Animal Planet's going to go in for Roche, and this is tricky. They know that there's no vision, they put up some sentry wards around the vicinity, and Dire actually scan it out.
Oh, this could be big. They're going to run into PPD, though. I'm not sure if that's the greatest kill in the world, but taking him right at the start, he just TPs into absolute mayhem. He doesn't have Ritsu with the Ice Blast, though, and now going to lose Aoi as well. They barely are able to find the Queen of Pain with the Macro Pyre Ice Path, but it's not enough. So Bryle's going to steal the stack, but without the Sand King, I don't think they can actually take this. I think they need to back out. Hex is there. Pycat looking for more. Burrow Strike. Force Step to the low ground. Kitrak trying to hold on to Zai, but it was never going to be enough. And they buy back on Aoi when they can't really take the fight.
No. And the options for taking the fight were minimal, even with a buyback. Like, sure, Guardian Angel is on cooldown still, but the way that AUI initiated was like, okay, well, we see the Ancient Apparition here. They still don't know that we're all smoked up here. So as soon as AA gets, you know, his TP completed, all of our smokes are going to pop. So I'm still going to try to use this smoke initiation potential. And so he blinked up to the high ground near the Dire Ancients. Unfortunately, they didn't have any vision on that high ground, and it turned out that 3 OpTic heroes were up there, and AUI went face first into an Orchid silence. And now this Roche is going out fairly quickly.
Pycat gonna back out, not wanting to get caught out of position, but it's been OpTic who's been playing around the map very effectively, never overextending. In the mid lane, Bryle still hasn't hit that level 20 yet, which can really just up his survivability by a tremendous amount. Vision, at this point, fairly heavily into the favor of OpTic, as they see the Medusa push down to the low ground. Chase is maybe going to continue. He's almost out of mana. Time to jump away before things get too hairy.
You know, you've got 3-4 steps on the side of Animal Planet right now. And one of the things that I'm not too concerned about with AUI buying back is he's pretty farmed. He's got a Yules and a Blink Dagger, so even though his buyback is an expensive one, it's not really like it's going to be, you know, dramatically slowing a typical Sand King's item progression, seeing as how AUI has managed to get a lot done. Though, still, in the end, like, that means that his next death is going to be even longer, and that would almost certainly guarantee game if it's in a team fight situation. And now this Roche is going down quickly, and 33 on the tail end means that Animal Planet can't contest it.
They see all these heroes. There's going to be the roll forward. Ice Blast down and out. It's not going to hit onto anybody. Maybe they can go for more. Are they chasing too deep right now, OpTic? Are they just going to be able to steamroll over Animal Planet? Zaya's there. Now CCNC trying to put in the work. Is just going to be able to finish off these creeps and then maybe go for the push after the fact.
I'm glad that CCNC ended up not finishing out that BKB. It seemed excessive in terms of defensive options, so instead he's gone for the Maelstrom and he's actually going to complete it into a full Mjolnir, and that's a good reaction. I mean, I'm sure maybe if he wasn't able to take that bot lane of Rax, then he would have still gone for the BKB, but the longer you draw a game out against the Medusa, the harder it becomes to actually finish the game, and so you need someone with damage, and we'll see if Animal Planet are able to do anything.
Maybe a last hurrah, but this is about as good of a placement that you can get. Aoi is here. He does scout out all these heroes.
As long as Zai's doesn't get initiated on, then Animal Planet cannot win this fight. And obviously this is a weird angle, and so normally Omni Knight feels pretty safe on the left side.
They're walking in. He's in the trees. They have some ideas there. They go for the right click? What?
Yeah.
That was... turn off auto attack.
Yeah, pretty much.
Force staff roll away. There's going to be the chase. They found themselves the kill, and now thinking that they're very, very strong. And in fact, they are. They actually found Aoi also. This is just going to be another kill. Sonic Wave a little bit late, but what was looking like maybe a last chance is just turning into a nightmare. They're going to find Ritsu, they're going to find Moon, and they're likely going to kill them both off. And with Aegis in hands, this is looking like it's gonna be GG.
I mean, it was probably game regardless, but like, I saw Ketrak like stopping his shaman from like shaking his hand. He was like, no, don't attack him, don't attack him. But couldn't hit the stop key enough, ended up going through and blowing the whole covert op that they were going for. And OpTic Gaming take a pretty solid game 1 victory. No real slip-ups at any point. Their laning phase was confident, they converted on it well, and Animal Planet was never really able to get a foot in the door in this game.
Well, that's going to do it for game number 1, ladies and gents. Again, you can give us a follow if you feel so inclined at Lyrical Dota at Tsunami643. And we're going to be back in a little bit with game number 2. Is there anything that you feel like Animal Planet needs to do, change up in their draft that's going to sort of help propel them into game number 2? What would you like to see changed?
The draft itself I had no issues with, but I think Ritsu can play more greedy if he has availability. Like, I know most of the time a highly active core can be, you know, pretty effective, but in this meta, your one position is like equally important as the mid, and it's not really worth, like, your support heroes should be the one worrying about the mid lane. It shouldn't be your one position worrying about the mid lane. So the draft I'm okay with. I'm okay with the way that they, you know, shifted around the farm priority. Is just, I think Ritsu can play a little bit more greedy if he finds the opportunity.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back in a little bit for game number 2 of Animal Planet versus OpTic here in the StarLadder North American Qualifiers.